Alright, welcome back to my Wingspan World Cup journey. You are tuning in the second game of our round of 32 match against Jeastthebeast. We were able to win game 1 thanks to some fun main duck shenanigans. But you know this is going to be a difficult series. Jeast is one of the best players in the world. But they give me one bird, so that's either good or bad. That might mean they've got like a dipper or something, and that's a bit scary. We have nothing to go off of here. In these situations, I kind of like the spotted dove. Like, there is really nothing anywhere to work with whatsoever. Forester is probably the keep here, but I think the spotted dove is a nice hedge. If they have the white-throated dipper or like great crested grebe, something that gives them incredible draw power, we can just fire this dove over to them, grab a bunch of cards, and just kind of hedge our bets that, well, you've already got really good card access. I'm going to gamble on trying to find a lot of cards. Let's see how it goes and just gamble, because we're losing that game anyway if we can only draw 2 cards at a time, so we'll just fire it and see what happens. And if they don't, if they've just got like a boring old wetlands card, then maybe we just don't send it, we just hold on to it for a while. And so that's kind of how I like to approach this dove. I think it's typically a really bad bird, but there are circumstances where it can make sense, and given our absolute lack of draw power and options literally anywhere, like we've got no tempo whatsoever. Our best tempo bird, if you can even call it that, is this Lazuli Bunting, which is kind of terrible. The Eurasian Treekeeper is in the tray. I point that out because it's the one bird I still have not played in my copy of Wingspan Digital. It's so bad, dude. It's so bad. I should just spam 1v1 game. I just spam like games against CPU until I can play it or something. Anyway, not the point. But yeah, I think like Godwit is probably good. The Spotted Dove is also good, and we can kind of go from there. And I think that's probably the best thing we can do. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to keep the Godwit. We're going to keep the Spotted Dove, and we've kind of hedged our bets. If our opponent has a bad draw, we can either do Dove and just draw, or we can do Goblet and just draw. Either is fine. And they've got Royal Spoonbill, which is a plus cards bird. You can pick up these platform nests. We know Jeast loves predators, so that Great Horned Owl probably is something that we'll pick up. We can consider playing this Godwit. I mean, the Spoonbill is also not like a dipper or anything like that. It's not as strong as that, but it is a plus cards bird, and I do think plus cards is a significant advantage for a number of reasons. I think cards are the most useful resource on Oceania, so having an extra card to throw for a resource to tuck under a bird, very, 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 very strong. So we'll play the Spotted Dove, and we'll inject a bit of chaos into this game. We could spend to reset the tray, but okay, we will spend to reset the tray, and we find some incredible stuff out of the gate. So House Finch and his Black Crowned Night Heron, really nice. The House Finch is going to work really nicely with this Spotted Dove, giving us a bunch of extra cards to work with, and we pull the Red Start as well. That is huge, absolutely huge. We've just turned our entire game around based off of that Spotted Dove. We sent it to their wetlands because I want them to activate it. I want him to send it back to me, and then maybe I can activate it again or something like that. Because at this moment, I am convinced that I'm getting the asymmetrical advantage from the bird. Jeast immediately takes food, so we're not going to get our dove back. That's absolutely fine. We've got this Red Start, one of the best forest birds, right up there. Not quite as good as European Robin, but right up there. One of my, just a generally very, very strong bird. That solved all of our food problems. With this House Finch, we're definitely thinking, okay, can we build a forest engine? We do have Forester, which makes it a little bit suboptimal in the forest. We could consider putting it in the grasslands just so we could cycle, grab some eggs and cycle or something like that. But looks like Jeast is going to give us back our Spotted Dove and reveal a yellow-headed blackbird, which it's still pretty early in this game. Definitely something that I am going to be picking up and denying from my opponent, and very real chances that we end up playing it as well. Still going to keep pinging this over to Jeast, because again, I think we need as much stuff as we can get. We're going to pick it over to his forest. I think he wants to play in the forest, and then we can hopefully get it back. We reveal Pileated Woodpecker, which is a bit of a bother. We do not have any cavity nests. So I imagine he's going to take food and grab that woodpecker. But we can keep playing spoiler here. We can take this dove and send it back to his forest and stop him from playing Pileated, which can be, you know, we're kind of in the psychological warfare moment now for this spotted dove, I think. This is like one of like the most double-edged birds in the entire game of Wingspan. It is absolutely brutal. You can cut yourself so easily, but you can also cut your opponent. And when you have nothing but Hail Marys to throw, like, just inject chaos into the game. See what we can find, see what we can do. As you can see, we've already found a ton of advantage from it, so I fully expect this to be sent back to us. I fully expect it to go into our wetlands, and then I'm more than happy to ping it back to him in his forest, just to deny that Pileated and just be a real bother. And hopefully we can find a cavity nest. I'm not going to. Okay, interesting. Interesting. I think the heads up play is to send it back to him, but maybe I'm seeing something that I'm not. But oh well. I don't mind this decision. I do think we have a bit of a clock on us, though. We are trying to find this this mythical cavity nest bird that we can get into the game and get those free eggs from Pileated. Nevertheless, I think we got a good setup already. We just want to get House Finch into the game, and ideally find ourselves that alternative egg source. Yellowhead Blackbird, maybe not so interesting to play. We have tons of cards already, so kind of this wetlands action is getting weaker, and even the prospect of getting an egg off it is not super valuable at this point. I mean, it's still okay, but I don't think it's likely to be played at the moment. I think House Finch into the grasslands may be a slightly better option. Not my preferred option. I would much prefer to find an egg source in the forest and then just kind of build out this crazy forest engine, but yeah. We'll see what Jeast does here. I think he's got a big decision to make. Maybe he thinks that because I have done this and not blocked his Pileated, that he has that I have a cavity nest, and he only has one. He doesn't have another cavity nest down, so can't get the full advantage of that. Nevertheless, Pileated does come into the game. We're going to spend a food to reset the tray. We need to find a cavity nest bird. And we find a raven. Okay. Bush tit raven, even. Okay. Well, this game just got spicy. I think the play here is you do bush tit first. Bush tit first, lay eggs, and then take the raven food with a red star and see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, if I'd given my opponent this this spotted dove back into the forest and he'd taken food, he would have found the raven. Would he have? I don't know. It would have been close. But yes, we cannot get any advantage from the Pileated, which is why it's imperative that we get this bush tit down. It is indeed a qualifying nest type for the Pileated woodpecker, and we can use that to funnel ourselves a ton of points. Or at least stop Jeast from accumulating too much advantage from having a Pileated on board while we don't. Yeah, definitely, yeah, what an interesting turnaround we've had this game. I still think, so the Raven is obviously will be the strategy here. I think we're foolish to not go with the Raven. However, I think we do need to be a little bit careful. We need to find a way to get this final food resource for us. The Raven only generates 2 food at a time, which is fine for this House Finch. But some of these big point plays that we want to play, like this Night Heron and whatnot, are all 3 food cost birds, which the Raven really struggles with. We just need to be a little bit mindful of that and kind of work with that where we can. It's like our opponent got the Belted Kingfisher in, which is going to give them another place to lay eggs for this end of round, so really targeting those ends of rounds. But also another destination for the pileated egg, so that's really nice for them. But yeah, I see no reason not to just get this raven into the game, lay eggs, and then get the house finch into the game. And at some point, we might consider pinging the spotted dove back over. If there's one thing that really makes a raven board really strong, it's the access to cards. And so at this point, every card we see is probably disproportionately advantaging us, because we've got a strong engine that we just want to deliver as many points as possible through, and we're going to need to do that with good value birds. So there's no urgency right now to send this dove over, but if we do struggle at some point and we do need to find more cards to tuck on this bush tit and things like that, then we always have that emergency option. Get 5 cards. It's 5 turns of house finch bush tit action, which would be very, very, very nice. We do have to keep in mind our bonus card is Forester, so Eastern Whipbird could be high on the agenda for that. And we would still very much love another cavity nest bird, because filling up our bush tit is very likely to happen in this game. The tricky thing that we have to balance here is that the end of round is cavity nests. My opponent has 4 spots between the pileated and the belted woodpecker, belted kingfisher, sorry. And I imagine that means they'll be looking to get another cavity into the game. Maybe there's a azure tit or something, so that they can get even more eggs. Yeah, the great horned owl has come into the game, so they're building out a strong forest. But yeah, so if we can get 5 eggs on this bush tit, that'd be good, but it's very difficult to get 5 eggs on this bush tit. Oh no, belted kingfisher's got 4 slots, what am I talking about? Yeah, they can go up to 6, we can go up to 5, so maybe we shouldn't be stressing so much about this end of round. Cycle this bitten, we'll pick up this azure tit. It looks like we are going to go targeting this end of round. I think that could be smart. I say that because azure tit's also a forester bird. Oh, noisy miner has come up. That would be a very strong bird for us. But I think my opponent will probably block that. I'm unsure. Noisy miner's kind of on the margin for utility. You know, tuck 1 card, get 2 eggs back, give 1 out to everyone is a pretty decent trade. But it might just stretch our card reserves a little bit too far, so... Yeah, I think Jeast deciding not to get up probably makes sense. The Atlantic Puffin, oh wow. You love to see a puffin if you're the other people. Apologies for the hard cut, but I had to step away there for a moment. We shall continue. Alright, I have completely forgotten where we were. Alright, they've just played Atlantic Puffin and we've got azure tit. I don't know how the math works out on this end of round, but it might be very close as to whether or not we win it or not. I think we're going to get up to 8, so it might be very, very close. Yes, so we will get to 8. But we also have to start making decisions around what birds we want to keep. So this whip bird's going to go away. Unfortunate, but we dream of being able to play better forester birds. So we'll see what we can find. We'll find a many-color fruit dove, which is not a better bird, unfortunately. We should take some food here that helps us play these big point wetlands options. And yeah, we'll go from there. So we're doing alright, accumulating points, but we now are at a point where we have good stuff to play in the wetlands, but really nothing else to keep extending this grasslands. And I've said it a lot of times, but to win with the Raven, you really need to get as many grasslands birds in as fast as possible, so you can really generate maximum advantage. And it looks like we will get the end of round victory, which is really nice for us. But it also does scream out to me that now is the time to pull the trigger on the spotted dove. Let's fire it away and see what we can do. I think this time we are of the opinion that we don't really care about it being sent back to us, so might be thinking put it in this grasslands just to be a bit of a bother. Does bay owls come up? Could be interesting as a forester option, that is. We can dream of finding some nice predator powers for this grasslands. And indeed, we will fire this away. We'll immediately be rewarded with an American Robin, which can very much help complement our grasslands. So that is looking good. However, we do have to worry about food, which is the only little complication that we have to deal with. Is there still time in this game to actually get value out of this Robin? I think probably. Like, we need the stronger activations, just bluntly speaking. So we might as well do that. The Woodcock is being left for us. I think that makes sense. But yeah, I think even though this is a 1-point play, I think you kind of have to play this Robin here. Then maybe what we want to do is we maybe want to cycle up to this Woodcock and then play the Woodcock in the grasslands as a kind of decent point last option. I think that will probably be good enough. Then we probably want to do like 1 turn of food at some point, and then 3 turns of grasslands to try and play as many of these lovely wetlands birds as we possibly can. And of course we've got to think about Forester as well, which is a little bit of a bother. Beast gets naughty into the game, very logical. Snowy Owls come in, also very logical. Rook. Rook is a good option, actually. We can keep hold of Rook. That is, it might be a bit late, but a very, very, very strong option for us. Allows us to turn 1 point into 2 points. It might push us a little bit resource-wise, but it should still be sufficient for our purposes. Okay. From this position... Yeah, if I play Rook, I probably have to give up a food rather than a card, because I need to cycle the Waxwing, cycle the Waxwing, and then tuck on the Bush Tit. That's probably what we need to do. I think that currently makes the most sense. Alright, and get the green Bee Eater, and so that traps the Spotted Dove, so that is now permanently affixed to his side of the board. But we are okay with that. I think we got disproportionate value out of that bird, so I think we are quite happy with things after that. So quite late to get this Rook into the game. It should be good for another 3 or 4 activations, so it might end up being a 9-point bird. Might only end up being a 7-point bird, but I think... Yeah, I don't know, it's a tough one. It's very tough to be getting these components in so late. But I think it is ultimately the right decision. I think here we want to take eggs and then get food for the Godwit, play the Godwit. The Godwit is kind of critical here because it gives us the extra card that we desperately need. This Woodpecker is still giving out eggs, which we're very happy to receive. We will continue adding eggs to our grasslands. We shall cache a food. Like I said, we can't really spare the card at the moment, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're still getting our points off the Rook. Tuck the Waxwing. We find Brambling. Could be tempting instead of the Bay Owl. Yeah, it's pretty marginal either way. Yeah, it's probably better. It does mean we have to play it now, which is... Actually, the Brambling is actually really good for us now that I'm thinking about it. The Brambling is going to give us the extra cards that we need to turn into points, because every card we draw off the Brambling becomes 2 points on the Rook. So a little bit of optimization there. So even though we're not going to tuck on the Brambling, we will every card we draw will be returned as an extra point later on. So that's really nice. We still will have trouble getting down all the birds we have in our hand, but that's okay. We can prioritize, I think. Definitely Godwit, definitely Whooping Crane, and then, you know, whatever is best between the Night Heron and the Bald Eagle will probably be the play. Might even be that we use this Bald Eagle to grab a couple fish, and that can help us pay for this Whooping Crane or something like that. That might be the smart way of doing things, or maybe the Brambling finds us something better. I don't know. But alright, we play this Brambling into the forest, and draw 2 cards, and I would be very surprised if we tuck these. Trumpeter Swan could be nice. I think Maybe it hasn't clicked to me yet that actually we should hold on to these. And so yeah, it does eventually click. We actually do not want to tuck. We would like to maximize the value we get from these cards. So very nice. We shall lay out eggs. We shall tuck a card. This is not going to play this Eagle Owl. Goodbye. I think Bald Eagle was actually a keep. I think we should have kept that over the Night Heron, but I don't think it matters too much. We'll cycle away this Busted so that we can't get into trouble there. Tempting to cycle away this Woodpecker, but we'll just leave it there. It's not a big deal. And then the Dixisal goes bye-bye. Yeah, I think we missed a trick there. I think the Bald Eagle could have been a critical tempo play, which could have allowed us to play an extra bird, but it's not the end of the world. It's completely fine. I do think the next play must be this Godwit. Probably Godwit, eggs, and then probably the Whooping Crane is probably all that we have time for in this game. And I think, if I'm counting correctly, we more or less will have time to do everything and not lose any points on our Rook or any of our birds, actually. So that is very convenient. We might want to consider playing the Trumpeter Swan. We have a pretty big lead already, so there's no urgency to do that, but yeah. We'll continue to lay eggs, I think. Yes, we can tuck one more. Goodbye, Night Heron. And I think now... Are we actually going to cycle it? Okay, we're cycling away the Godwit. Okay, I respect that. I respect it. So this is me saying I would like the guaranteed points of the Trumpeter Swan of having two additional seed things over the one additional seed thing over, and put 3 points to help shore up this end of round. I think I realized there on the bush that I made a mistake. I do think the Godwit was necessary, and the Godwit wasn't a better play. Getting that card back allows us to do another action. And unfortunately, now we can't. We had, if you saw correctly, I did not tuck the Chimney Swift because I needed to trigger off this lovely sequence of events that's about to happen in the grasslands. So I think, yeah, I think we were a little bit too hasty to dismiss the Godwit, and I think that needed to be played in order for us to get maximum efficiency. But that is neither here nor there. Right now, I think the best thing to do is probably just lay eggs. Cycle this Chimney. We'll spend a worm on the Rook to get the extra tuck. Cycle the Chimney Swift, see if we find anything good, and tuck the worst bird in our hand, which is pretty likely to be something else. I think here is there a trick here? I was thinking maybe we could get fruit, but I don't think we have the capacity to do so, unfortunate. Goodbye, worm. We will get the extra point on the Rook, so the Rook ends up being a 9-point bird. And we will get our additional nectar and tuck the cuckoo. So yeah, I think all the birds did all right here. I think the robin was probably the weak link, but I think, you know, it's already scored us 6 points, so we did it all right there. We do have a bit of a commanding lead in the end of round goal. The Trumpeter Swan should help push that out a bit more, and of course Whooping Crane will hopefully get us good points. Asian Emerald Dove, that's going to help them quite a bit. I think that ties up the score. Unfortunately, we missed on the bonus card. Oh, they only got one egg off the Emerald Dove. That is so unfortunate. But it does tie up the end of round. And they actually... Well, what are they going to do? Are they going to do food? Food, play a bird? And we'll just have to wait and see if the Trumpeter Swan is actually going to be the determining factor here. Yeah, if we'd kept the Godwit could have been good. Oh well. Live and learn, live and learn. Yeah, I think this game has been really interesting. I've been going through a lot of my World Cup games, obviously, and I think this one here has been one of the, like, critically interesting games that I've played. I think the Spotted Dove theory coming into practice, and I think really demonstrating a really viable use case for what is usually a pretty terrible bird. it's really allowed us to have a really strong game with this Raven. And, you know, our opponent hasn't really been able to take advantage of it. We'll see, though. We'll see. I think they've done well. They had a very productive forest. They've got some big point birds in there. Oh, they played the woodcock to finish things off. We get the bug. When you're looking at your opponent's board and the thing flicks back to you, you can't activate powers every so often, so we got to dive back in and re-trigger the power. Very annoying. And we'll get our final 2 points off this brambling. Nothing good. Goodbye. Yeah, we found a lot of neat little optimizations. Our opponent stole the Grasslands Nectar as well. That is unfortunate. But we'll see how it all turns out. Bird points should be very close. Actually, I lied. We had no bird points. It's a massive blowout. Wow. We're getting destroyed on bonus cards. This might be a tough one. We did do very well on ends of rounds, and we are very strong on eggs. And we are very strong on tucks. So we'll see if it is going to be enough. And it is a close one. 123 to 121. Wow. What a close game. Jeez. Wow. I thought this was going to be a fun game. Oh, they pulled Breeding Manager. They got a point off Breeding Manager even. Wow. Pop Monitor and Diet Specialist, of course, is maxed, being a very easy bonus card to get. And this is our final board where we are only able to score off a Forester. One nest short for Enclosure Builder, but nevertheless, really, really close game. Really high quality wingspan from both sides, I think. I think if we did not go with the Spotted Dove, I think we would be completely doomed to this game. We had to take a risk. I think the card advantage from the Royal Spoonbill versus, say, playing a Godwit would give my opponent an unassailable edge, basically. I'd have to get very lucky in my draws to win that game, and the Spotted Dove just gave me an out, basically. Saying, alright, let's see what happens. Neither of us is going to have a card advantage this game. Let's see who can find the better stuff, and we happen to find the better stuff. And then we're able to convert that into the board you see in front of you. And I think that was really a really fun game. I do wonder if the Godwit would have lost us this game. Let's do some quick math on that, because if I was going to critique myself, I think that was probably the most off decision I made all game, was giving away Godwit and keeping Swan. Well, we'll never know what that last bonus card was, because my opponent played their bonus cards quite early. Let's quickly... What's the first bonus card? Oh, well, I don't think it matters. Yeah, the first bonus card is Enclosure Builder, and then we get the Wetland Scientist one, so... maybe we don't score any points off bonus cards, so it's -3. But we get stuck on the bush, so it's +2. We still... Do we win the end of round? This could be the critical factor, actually. This end of round could actually just be the entire thing. We do win the end of round, but I don't actually see how many that we have, so we don't have to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And our opponent has, let's see their final board states. 1, 4, 6, 7, 7, 8, 4, 3, 8. They have 8. So yeah, Godwit loses the game. Godwit loses the game because then we lose 3 points on here, on the end of round. We lose 1 point from this raw score value. Maybe the Whooping Crane finds us a better bonus card, and maybe we can make up the difference, but there's no guarantees with bonus cards. It is a gamble. So yeah, I think hindsight being what it is, and my own critical analysis of not playing the Godwit, I think that actually turned out in my favor. I think if we don't play the Swan, we probably just lose, but it is what it is. But in the end, what a really fine game of Wingspan. I mean, it really showed the quality of Jeast to be able to make a really strong board from his position. Like, look at that, very, very well done. 121 is well above par. So well played to him, and we were able to just do enough to get it. So yeah, well played. Very, very, very good game of Wingspan. I'm very happy with that one. But it does mean that we win. We advance to the round of 16. And yeah, so GG's to my opponent, and yeah, we'll see you in the next round.